Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to chat a little bit about spring, kind of what I'm currently reading, what I'd like to be reading, and what I've already read on my tentative spring TBR. Obviously, I'm a little bit late on this. Everyone was posting their spring TBRs in March. I know, it's fine though, because I just don't actually care. You already saw what I read in March, so I just thought it might be interesting to kind of chat about what I'm currently reading. I want to have some like current updates. I want it to be casual, short little videos. But let's first chat about what I'm currently reading. So at the moment, I am reading The Wax Child by Olga Raven. This is not a spring book. Let's get that right off the bat. This is not spring. This is so winter, actually. This is so winter. And that's kind of okay for me right now because where I live, it's kind of not feeling like spring. It's very green out, which I love. However, it is like 35 one day and 75 the next day. So this suited for those 35-degree days. I'm only about halfway through. I've been reading this since the beginning of the month. So kind of slow in my normal terms for a book this short, but this is kind of my back burner book. This isn't really like my main read right now. Only because I really, really am loving the prose of this, but it is non-linear, and so the narrative is not super compelling me at the moment. It's kind of all vibes, no plot so far. But I did just get to the second part of the book, which is focusing on the actual witch trial, which I realized I didn't mention what this is about. This takes place in the 1600s in Denmark, in the perspective of a wax doll made by a witch, and all of the witchiness and witch trials that ensue. So I'm hoping that since I've now gotten to the part that is about the actual trial, the narrative might be a little bit more easy to follow, because it is non-linear thus far. But honestly, still fantastic, just because the prose is so beautiful. Also, the book is beautiful. Hey, that's a beautiful cover. That's beautiful. I picked this up in my local bookstore. I knew who Olga Raven was, but I had never seen this book in particular. And then it shows up as an International Booker nominee. I don't know, shortlist, long list. I don't know. I have consumed content about it, but I don't remember. If I'm being honest, I don't remember if it's shortlisted or not, but I know it at least made the long list. So that's exciting. Yeah, so I'm hoping to finish this in the next week, but we'll see what actually happens. So yeah, I'm reading that, and then my mainline read. Mainline as in I'm fucking pumping this into my veins like an IV. The Martian by Andy Weir. I know everyone's talking about Project Hail Mary right now, but we need to be talking about this. I know that this is not new. I know that the movie is not new, and everyone has already talked about this, but I'm talking about it now. Okay? Because I'm reading it now, so we're talking about it now. It's amazing. It's so good. I am not quite halfway, maybe like 3/5. It's so good. I only had one gripe at the very beginning, which was that I felt like the scientific terminology was a little bit repetitive, but that does make sense in context because the first 75 pages are entirely in logs, and then you start to get some other outside narrative, but when you're going through those logs, it does make sense that like terminology would repeat itself and become a little bit redundant because obviously things are changing every day, and he has to document those whether it's a big change or not. So it makes sense, and it obviously like didn't really pull down the experience at all. It just was something that I did notice, but absolutely no critiques on top of that thus far. I'm loving my time with this. I'd be lying if I said I didn't kind of prioritize this over Project Hail Mary because I like the cover better. I'm sorry. Also, I don't have to go to the movie theater to see the adaptation. I love going to the movies, don't get me wrong, but I can't afford to go to the movies all the time. So I can watch this adaptation at home when I'm done. Speaking of which, I think I want to do a video about book to screen adaptations. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. I'm probably going to make it anyway, but let me know. I'd love to know if you support that idea or if you're interested, because I love books and I love movies. So that's like the best of both worlds for me. Loving this. Probably going to be done in, if I had to guess, maybe the next 2 days, because I'm really in it. If I didn't have things to do, I'd probably binge the rest of this today, but I have other stuff I have to do, unfortunately. But if you don't want to wait for my review until May is after April. If you don't want to wait until May to hear my review, you can go check it out on my Bookstagram at I'm Better at Reading Than You. It will be linked in my description, but my review will be there. I will also review it in that video later, but if you don't want to wait, that's where it will be. Okay, now let's chat about the tentative spring TBR that I wrote down for myself in February. Because to me, spring is March, April, May. So I wrote that TBR in February. And on that TBR, I had In the Weeds by B.K. Borison, which I read, Swamplandia by Karen Russell, which I read, No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy, which I read, all of which are reviewed in my last video. In addition to those three, which I already read, I had The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. I had Picnic at Hanging Rock. I don't know who that's by, but we all know Picnic at Hanging Rock. It's a classic. And Seasons of Glass and Iron by Amal El-Mohtar. I hope I said that right. But none of those books, honestly, I don't know their plots super well, because I think I said this in my last video, but I don't like to really know honestly a lot about what a book is about before I read it usually. So I'm kind of just going on vibes. I think that those three books to me feel spring based on title and cover. Sorry, I am judging book by cover and title, of course. But The Housekeeper and the Professor has that beautiful blue cover with the flowers on it. That's spring. Sorry, that's spring. Spring book. Picnic at Hanging Rock. Picnic in the title. Picnic is spring. I know Picnic is also summer, but to me, Picnic is spring. I think it does take place during the summer, but hey. I don't romanticize the summer. I romanticize the spring. So I want to read it now. That is also on my 26th to read in 2026. So I would love to check that off. Been wanting to read it for a really long time. And I don't read a whole lot of classics, so kind of trying to work my way up to maybe reading a couple more. And Seasons of Glass and Iron, I love Amal El-Mohtar. I loved This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I also read The River Has Roots in January and really enjoyed that as well. Their writing is just beautiful to me. I know a lot of people their writing, I think, is very divisive for a lot of people, especially This Is How You Lose the Time War. I know that's an incredibly divisive book. I really loved it. I understand why people wouldn't like it, but I personally am a big fan of their writing. I think it's very flowery and beautiful. So I'm really excited to see what they can do with short stories, because obviously those two books are already quite short, and I know what they can do in that already short format. I'm really curious to see what they can do in a short story format. I have that on hold at the library, so I'm impatiently awaiting an email about its arrival, and then I will be started on that. But yeah, so those are the ones I had written down, but some more things have kind of come to mind recently. Number one being, I really, really, really want to reread If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. I love this book so much. I read this last April, and I do think it's my favorite book ever. I do think this is my favorite book. There's a lot of competition. I just love this book, and I love Calvino's writing. He's so funny and so interesting. I've never read any other writing like his. If there's something out there like it, I would love to know. But for right now, I've got a really, really, really long list of works to read through. I have now read this, and I've read Cosmic Comics, not the complete Cosmic Comics, because when I read it, I didn't know that the complete Cosmic Comics was its own thing. So I guess what I read was like an abridged version, maybe technically. It is short stories, so it's like I was reading the short stories in full. It just not all of the short stories, I guess. So I'd love to come back to that and read what I missed initially. I liked that as well. Not quite, not close to as much as I loved this, but I still love his writing. And then most recently I read Invisible Cities, which I also loved. But yes, I read this last April, and I would love to live in a world where I can read this every April for the rest of my life. I love this book so much, and I want everyone to read this. It's hard, it's complicated, but it's so worth it. It's so funny, and it's so interesting, and it just is like, truly, like, I feel like I have not read a lot of books that to me feel like adventure books. This is adventure to me. This book is adventure. It's adventure, but it's literary. Literary adventure. Pick it up, please. I'm begging you. It's so good. And it's not that long. Like I said, it's kind of complicated, but it's really not that long. And it's just fantastic. So hopefully I can scrounge up some time to reread this month. And then I was kind of looking at the physical TBR that I have here at school with me. Like I said in my last video, I'm not like at home with all of my books, so I only have like a limited little part of my physical TBR here with me. But I do have a couple books that I picked off my shelf that feel kind of spring to me. And I've just realized a through line. I said, why do these books feel spring to me? One, they're short, and to me, short books feel spring, because it's like, if a book is short, I can go out in nature and read it in one sitting outside, and that is so magical to me. I'm very, very partial to short books. I have 2 short books here with me and 1 long book. We'll get to it, because I do kind of have a fear of long books. I'm working on it. I'm getting better. I read 2 long books already this year, long as in like 500 pages, which is a lot for me. I think that the typical book I read is usually between 200 and 350 pages. So yeah, let's talk about these short books first, and you'll see what they have in common. First, I have Earth Eater by Dolores Reyes. I have not heard a lot about this book. I think maybe I have vague memories of people talking about it, but I don't remember if it was positive or negative. But to me, it doesn't really matter. I'm excited to read it regardless. I know there are a lot of people online who are like, oh, this book has under a 4.0 on Goodreads. Why would I spend my time on that? Hey, who cares? Actually, who cares? It actually does not matter. Average rating actually doesn't matter, because those people are not you. And it's about your enjoyment, not about how much other people enjoyed it, generally speaking. So, you know, hey, who cares? That's like saying, oh, this movie I was super excited about, it got a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just not going to watch it anymore. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Form your own opinion. Form your own opinion, please. Sorry. Anyway, this takes place in Argentina, and it's about a woman who can't stop eating Earth. That's what it says. So I'm really excited to read this. I actually found this in my local thrift store, which I thought was kind of crazy and exciting, because it feels a little bit niche for a Goodwill. I feel like a lot of Goodwills tend to have kind of the same selection of books. And I feel like finding like quote unquote weird girl lit at Goodwill is not very common. So I was excited about that, to get this book that I already wanted to read for like $2. That's amazing. So yeah, that's exciting. The next book I grabbed off my shelf is Earth Angel by Madeline Cash. Do you see the through line? Do you see why they feel spring to me? Hey, they both have Earth in the title. And spring is nature and spring is Earth. So this is also on my 26 read in 2026. Obviously Madeline Cash is now like in the spotlight because of her debut novel, Lost Lambs. I didn't know she was even working on a novel or releasing a novel when I got this book. I was just excited to get into her short stories, because it has a very, very short description on the back, which reads, An ISIS recruit, an adolescent beauty queen, and a childless millennial walk into a bar. In her electric debut, Madeline Cash synthesizes the godlessness of a digital age into a glimmering, sublime, life-affirming collage of stories. And that is intriguing to me. I'm excited. It's incredibly short. This is definitely like probably a one-sitting read. I love the cover also. Amazing cover. So yeah, I'm excited to read this, and then maybe I'll also pick up Lost Lamb since everyone else is picking it up and see if I'm into it. We'll see if I like her writing in short story form, and then it's exciting that I now know that there's a novel that I can also reach for if I really enjoy it. So yeah. And then last but certainly not least, I've been kind of feeling like I need some fantasy in my life. I have not read a lot of fantasy recently. I read Burial Bones in the Midnight Soil in February. Really liked that. That's obviously not like fae fantasy. That's vampire fantasy, which, hey, no complaints. I love vampires. I've gotten really into vampires. And what have I just noticed about this book that I have next to me before I tell you what it is? Quote on the back of the book: "Vampire romance lovers will drink this series down to the last drop." Hey, if I wasn't already interested, I am now because I'm really in my vampire era. This is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This is beautiful. This is a fucking beautiful book. Holy shit. Like, if I wasn't already interested, amazing, beautiful. This is a big one for me. This is a big book for me. Also, on my 26th reading 2026, I tried to pull a lot of things off my physical TBR for my 26 and 2026. Obviously, I want to read the books that I have. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm hoping to maybe get to this spring. I'm hoping maybe in May. I don't think this is something I'm going to get to this month just because of its length. But I think this is definitely May to me. So yeah, that is my tentative spring TBR and what I'm currently reading. This video is obviously not as long. I'm hoping to be able to kind of have my monthly wrap-ups, but also sprinkle in some shorter kind of chatty videos. So yeah, that's my spring plans, tentatively, like I already said. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you are interested in a video about adaptations, or if you have any other books that to you feel like spring, that you would recommend to me, or just books that you love that maybe I wouldn't like, but I'm still curious about what you're into. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day.